Om Sadashivasamārambhām Vyāsaśaṅkaramadhyamām Asmatacārya Paryantāṃ Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Purāṇānaṃ Ālayam Karuణālayam Namāmi Bhagavatpādam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhasha Krutau Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So let's read the first one and the second one. The second one I'll just cover it again. Nityananda Sukham Padam Suvimalam Nityananda Sukham Padam Suvimalam Praptum Samiha Yutaha Sarve Janma Bhritas Sadha Vyasaninaha Tatstana Samharghane Evam Satyapi Sadhya Sadhana Yugham Samyan na jananti te na prapta aduna pisaukya padavi swabishta rupam yataha. So just to go over this verse, the simple message here is everyone, every human being, whether they like it or not, is always after happiness. So Nityananda Sukham is what a person is always seeking. Even when the person is sad also, in sadness also the person wants to be happy. So happiness is something which cannot be removed or which cannot be dropped, because that is the nature of Ananda. And this is the nature of Nitya Ananda Sukham. So some people seek Ananda in pleasure activities, some in spiritual activities, some in physical activities. Some prefer to be alone and they're happy. Some like to be sad and they're happy. So happiness comes in different flavors and forms depending upon the intellectual maturity of the person. That's what it says here. And praptum samiha yutaha. So the person is always trying. So every person does not keep quiet. Every person makes an effort to be happy. And it is sada vyasaninaha, means always making effort. So it is not that we are making effort only for some few hours in a day to be happy. We are always making effort to be happy. Even in sleep also we want to be happy. There is not a single day when we say that we don't want to have bad sleep. It's not a good sleep. Because sleep also is a very important aspect of the health. So sada vyasaninaha, and the person also has an idea where he wants to go. It means he has got some idea about the destination. But despite this, evam satyapi sadhya sadhana yugam. So despite knowing this route, despite knowing the destination, despite making the effort, and despite knowing that happiness is what I want, na prapta adunapi. So these people are not able to get what they want, or they have not yet even arrived at what they want, because the search is in the wrong direction. The search is somewhere which is, we think it is in that particular place, but it's not there. That's why the author sets the tone, saying that sadhyam is that which is to be achieved, is made clear in the first two lines. Then the second two lines talks about the sadhana, or the ajnanam is being mentioned. So ajnanam or ignorance is being mentioned in the second two lines. Evam satyapi sadhya sadhana yugam. Even though despite knowing the sadhyam, despite knowing the method to achieve happiness, Samyang na jananti te. So these people are not aware about it. These people are not able to understand what it is. And they continue to be not successful till today. So adunapi means what? Even today. Even today, the people are not able to find happiness because they are searching for the eternal happiness, which is always an object of pleasure outside of you. So, Saukya Padavi means that place where one is Saukya, or the status of being happiness called Saukya Padavi. So, one feels happy, a politician feels happy being in the top place. A person who is a top manager wants to be a director. A director wants to be a chief executive officer. So, everybody has got some Saukya Padavi and they are all in the particular search for this place. Correct. But those search is not going to take you in the right direction because it is taking you away from all these things. That's what it says here, adunapi, even now also. Then the second line, second verse talks about the sadhyam, the sadhanam or the method or the means which is prescribed in the Vedas for the person to achieve. So we look at this again. The last class I didn't do justice. I was a bit rushing here and there. I'll probably do it again properly. So, tat praptyai prabhu sammita pi kripaya. Tat praptyai prabhu sammita pi kripaya. Trayanta saran vitaha. Trayanta saran vitaha. Valli Kataka Madhyagha Kavisamam. Valli Kataka Madhyagha Kavisamam. Protsahayanti Naran. Evam Sadhana Kalpanam Rachayate. Evam Sadhana Kalpanam Rachayate. Sanmargaganam Satam. Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam cha Sahasa Gantum Manishavata. So the Trai Antasaran Vitaha. So Trai means three and Antaha means the final. So where is this three? These three Vedas are in the Anta Bhaga. So Vedantaha, they say Veda Anta Bhagaha. Or the end portion of the Vedas is called Vedanta. So the entire Veda is split into three parts. The Karma Kandam, which is the 80% of the whole text is Karma Kandam. Then about 10% or 12-15% is actually Upasana Kanda. So the Upasana talks about, the Karma Kanda talks about all the methods by which one should do karma. Methods, means, rituals, the results, how many things, they're all elaborately talked about. In the Kathopanishad, we will be seeing this. Because this Nachiketa is the one who introduced this Karma Kanda. Yama taught him how to do this. So in the Karma Kanda, he says even how many brick has to be placed, what are the ingredients of the brick should be in the Homa Kundam also, how they should be placed, how the fire should be kindled, which direction the fire should be there, how high the fire should be there, how many people are to be ritik should be there, what dhanam should be given to them, what should not be given to them, all of them are elaborately discussed. So to know all these things, the person should have been studying Karma Kanda for years and years and years. He should have been studying under a teacher who is a very, very qualified Karma Kandi specialist. Unfortunately, today there is nobody in this world who is a specialist in Karma Kanda. There is no single person who knows 100% of everything because that practice is not 100% followed. So if a person follows the Karma Kanda method, then it is subject to flaws. There is subject to defects. There could be subject to something not incomplete. So it will not give the phalam required. That's what it says here. Trayanta saran vitaha. But here he doesn't talk about the Karma Kanda. He jumps straight into the Vedanta or the Veda Anta Bhaga. So Sara means what? The Saram, the essence. The essence of the teaching is present in these three Vedas. Right? So Yajurveda, Rigveda and Samaveda. See, Atharva Veda is also there. Atharva Veda also there are some text is there, but mainly talks about other types of technology things are talked about there. So these are the main essential things which comprise the heart of the Vedas. So Trayi, so three. So Trayi Anta Saranvita. So what is that? What does it do? This particular Veda. Protsahayanti Naran. So if you look at the second line, so this Vedas, they actually do protsahitam, means encouragement. They encourage the people, Naran. And this particular text or this Trayi, it talks about, he mentions a word called Kataka Madhyaga. So the second line, see the second word, Kataka Madhyaga. So Katake means what? Kathopanishad. So Kataka means Kathopanishad. Is one of the third Upanishad being taught in the Arshavidya Parampara. The first being taught is the Mundaka Upanishad. The second is the Kenopanishad. Then third is the Kathopanishad. Right. So all of them, there's a particular method of teaching, all of them. So this Kataka Madhyaga means, Madhya means central. So in the middle portion of the Kataka Upanishad, and each of them is called Valli or stanzas. So there are certain khanda subsections are there. So you can say Valli. So Valli is a section in the Kataka and it is present in the Madhyaga section. And what does this text do? So this Vedanta is supposed to do something for you, right? For us. So he says Kavi Samam. So Kavi Samam means, Kavi means a wise person. In normal language, Kavi means a wise person. Or Samam means equal or equal to a wise person. But here, the Veda does not talk about a wise person. The Veda says, I am here as a friend. So Kavi Samam here means the Vedanta or the particular text comes to you in the form of a friend, a philosopher and a guide. It says that, my friend, I know you are searching for something. I am right here in front of you and you are not making use of me because probably you are confused. You are not sure what you want to do. So let me come down to your level and teach you what I think. I'll be a friend in your guide, in your whole journey. So that's what it says here. Kavisamam protsahayanti nara. So by being a friend, philosopher and guide, this Upanishad guides a person, encourages a person, motivates a person to what? To tat praptyehi. See the first line, tat praptyehi prabhu samhita. Right. So for attaining that particular knowledge, even though the Vedas can command you, see the Vedas generally tell that don't do this, do this. It's always very curt and very, very directive. It doesn't have anything called liking for somebody. It just says that it is not to be done or it is to be done. That's why it says here Prabhu. So Prabhu means what? A Lord or somebody who is supposed to be a master. So the master does not like to request. The master, what does he say? He always says, you do this please for me, like the boss. So here the Prabhu is supposed to be the boss and the Vedas are supposed to be the commanding or the commandment, you can say, the one who commands respect. And it tells a person that you do this, don't do this. So it tells, but here, in this particular text, he says, I am coming to you, kripaya, means for your benefit and for your understanding, and I'm coming down as kavisamam protsahayanti naran. So for the benefit of the people, for the benefit of you, I am actually coming down to your level to teach you the essence of what it is and how to guide you there. Then evam sadhana kalpanam rachayate. So evam sadhanam kalpanam rachayate. So in this way, the sadhanam or the method is being elaborated. Kalpanam rachayate means the enacted, rachayate means it's formed or being outlined or being suggested. Evam, in this way, sadhana kalpanam, the method of achieving this particular topic or object, Nityananda Sukham Suvimalam Praptum Samai Hamihayata, correct? So that is what is important. So for attaining that knowledge, sadhanam is being mentioned. What is the sadhanam? The sadhanam is Trayanta Saranvitaha. And it is presented in the Kataka Madhyega, Kavisamam as the friend, and I'm coming to encourage you for Naran, for people. And what does it do? Sanmarga Ghanam. Sanmargaha means what? For the righteous path. Sanmargaha. That means for the people who are on the right track. So Sanmarga Ghanam means, the Ghanam means the people. The people who are on the track so far. So you're all on the track. So when you're already on the track, then someone has to guide you systematically to go to the end destination, right? You cannot be left halfway. That is why you have to hold on to the Guru. First of all, very important is to hold on to the small child, right? When you see the small child, he or she will try to hold the finger, correct? And what does it do? The finger, they lock. And then the father or the mother actually takes the child properly and make sure the hand is held. So till such time the child is very confident of crossing the road, the father and mother will actually make sure that they hold the hand and they look here and there, they cross the road and then they leave the other side. They never leave the hand of the child at any point of time. Same here also. If you surrender to the Upanishad, if you surrender to the teaching and to the Guru unconditionally, then the sadhanam kalpanam rachayate. So sadhanam is outlined here in the Upanishad and for the benefit of the people who are on the track so far, right? And for what? Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padam. So here Vishnoho means what? Not Vishnu. Vishnoho here means that all pervading knowledge here. So that Vishnu or that knowledge which is all pervading and which is of the nature of Paramam Padam. So Paramam itself means what? That which is above everything. And Padam means the foot or the way by which one approaches knowledge. Padyate anena iti padam. Padam means foot. So with foot, what do? You walk. And by walking, where do? You go to destination. The foot is supposed to be used for going to a destination. That's why Paramam Padam. Right? So Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam, that Vishnu which is of the nature of all pervading, and that Vishnu which is of the nature of Paramam, which is above everybody. Sahasa Gantum Manishavatam. So Manishavatam means what? Manisha means for the humans or for the people who are interested. See, not people. See, Shastram does not go and tell everybody to run. Upanishads are there for many years. It's in the book. Some people have got extensive collection of Upanishads in their book. They got all the books in their showroom, in their desks. And when somebody comes, they say, look at I've got all the collection here. All the books I've got. Somebody asks, do you read them? No, I collect, I like to keep them. But do you read them? I said, no, I have not read them. So it is like, somebody keeps this. But here, the word Manisha Avatam does not mean for people. It says for the people who are interested. That means for the people who are only committed to this particular pursuit, only for those, this will be of use. So, Manisha Avatam. So for that, this particular sadhana kalpanam rachayate. So this particular sadhana means being outlined. So here he just introduces the sadhanam as a means for attaining sadhyam. So sadhyam is mentioned in the first verse. Here the author introduces sadhanam or the means of attaining this knowledge. Tat praptyai prabhu sammithapi kripaya trayanta saranvitaha valli kataka madhyagha kapi samam protsahayanti naran evam sadhana kalpanam rachayate sanmargaganam satam tadvishno paramam padam cha sahasa gantum manishavatam. Okay. So the word sahasa gantum means it is not a slow process. So it is not something you say that you keep on going, keep on going, keep on going without knowing where you are going. It says that a person who is committed to this pursuit of knowledge, a person who is sincere in knowing what it is and who is making the right effort, who is endowed with the qualities or becomes an adhikari for that, for such a person, this Upanishad or this means specified here will be of use and the Upanishad will become a friend for him. It will not become a master for him, it will become a friend. See, what do you do with the friend? You always consult with the friend, right? You do not go and order the friend. You go and talk to somebody who is friendly. Somebody means what? You want to go and ask for advice. So as long as you got somebody, a bandhu, right? So friend is called bandhu. So that's why Marga Bandhu is one of the names for Lord Shiva. Because Marga Bandhu, in what the person who shows the way is called Marga Bandhu. Right? So same way here also the Upanishad becomes a friend for you. It doesn't become a master for you. So you can consult the Upanishad, you can ask, you can check, and it will tell you that, look, this is what is said, this is what you should do. This is my advice to you like this. But if you do not consult the Upanishad, or if you don't consult the Guru itself for anything, then it becomes a difficult task for you to achieve anything because it is so cryptic and difficult to understand. It becomes easy here. That's what it says here. This is an introduction to the third shloka. So the seed mantra for the third shloka. Is this clear? Second verse, is it clear? Okay. Now the third verse. Atmanam ratinam bhaviti nigamo. Atmanam ratinam bhaviti nigamo. Buddhim cha tatsaratim. Buddhim cha tatsaratim. Atmanam ratinam bhaviti nigamo. Buddhim cha tatsaratim. Deham syandanam indriyani turagan. Deham syandanam indriyani turagan. Shabdadi tadgocharam. Deham syandanamindriyani turagan shabdani tadgocharam cheta pragrahamadharena iman cheta pragrahamadharena iman pashyanstanotyatmavan tasyaivasyamidham padam sukadhanam tasyaivaapyamidham padam sukadhanam param param hyavanaha. Okay. There are some difficult words here, but I will introduce the text to you. So what it says here, in summary, then we'll go to the meaning. Here, an example is given. An example is given also from the Kathopanishad. And here, the example is given as a form of a chariot. So this particular mantra talks about the Jiva Atma, or the Jiva and the Atma. And how is there something called Jiva at all? First of all, there's nothing called Jiva at all. Because Jiva is only a name for the person who thinks that is a physical body, mind, sense complex. So Jiva is a name or a status given to the person for the one who thinks he is limited by body, mind, sense complex. Consciousness is present in everybody. Consciousness is present in everybody, and it continues to exist even after the person has passed away. An example could be that for a consciousness, a manifesting medium is required. So without the manifesting medium, consciousness cannot reveal itself. So this Atma, or the consciousness, uses the physical body, mind, sense complex as the manifesting medium for it to reveal itself. But even though this Atma is operating in the world of the matter through the Jiva, the physical body, in reality the Atma is not the matter at all. It is beyond matter. So an example what you could also look at is here, see here, the example given here is the physical body is used as an example, and it is compared to a chariot. So in a chariot, there are some fundamental things required. Say you are going on a chariot or maybe a car. Here given example is a chariot. Here you are going on a car. So if you are going on any particular trip or any journey, there are 5 things required. Number 1 is a traveler. Prayani. The travel is required, correct? So there should be a person who wants to travel, number 1. See, if you're not interested in traveling, there is no requirement for it to go into the car also. Like some people say, I don't want to travel at all. Or I'm just bored. So for such a person, no car is required, no travel is required, no driver is required, no effort is required. But this is talking about a person who is making effort. Right? So for the person making effort, there has to be a traveler, number 1. The second thing is you must know the destination, an objective. So You cannot just get into the car or something and say that you take me wherever you want. You have to know the destination. You have to know where you are going. Then you need the vehicle also. You need a particular structure. So the travel is ready, you are ready. And then you have an objective also is ready. But you do not have the required infrastructure to go there. We'll talk about the structure later on. Okay. Then you need also a driver. You need someone to drive you. Even though you may say that I can drive a car, but still you are a driver, you are also the all in all. Right? So you have to get in the car, you should know where to go, you must have the ability to drive, you must know the direction also. Right? All of them required. Then you must know the route also. You must know the route or the road map is required. So number one is you need a passenger. You need an objective, number two. Number three, you need a vehicle for transportation. Number four, you need a driver. And number five, you need a direction. All the five are required. So here, the first example traveler is equivalent to the Jivatma, Jiva. So the Jiva is traveling now. The conscious is not traveling, okay, Jiva is traveling. So we'll talk about later. So the Jiva is a traveler. So we are all Jivas who are traveling or who are searching for this happiness and going to the destination. So we are now ready. The Jiva is ready. With all the structure, everything is ready. Then the objective is attainment of Nityananda Sukham Srimalam. So the objective is what? Objective is to attain this Nityananda Sukham. I'm always looking for permanent happiness. So I am seeking for not temporary happiness. I have got everything, but I do not have any Nirandara Sukham. So permanent happiness is not there. So that is where I am trying to go there. So I have now equipped myself and I am ready to go. Then you have the physical body equivalent to the vehicle. The physical body is the one which is responsible for, we need a physical body. Without a physical body, you cannot do anything. That is why we always say that there are 4 types of health required. Number 1 is mental health. Mental health is very required. If you are mentally strong, then only you can do things. Second thing is you should have the physical strength. So mentally you will be very strong, but physically you will not be having any energy at all. So mental strength and physical strength sometimes go together also. Imagine that if the class becomes 1 hour to 2 hours, then sometimes it happens. When you go to some classes, which I actually do, it becomes 1.5 hours. Then person becomes restless. The watch comes into picture. Look here and there, off camera. All these things happen because the particular structure is not ready yet. It is still not formed yet. So the restlessness is still there. So even though the desire is there and the desire to put the effort is there, the body is not cooperating. Right? Tiredness will come. Sleep also will be trying to come. We'll try to battle sleep. Because these are all the requirements, right? So you need the structure. That's why it says here that the vehicle is the physical body. Then the driver is the indriyas, the five sense organs, manaha, buddhi. So it's all put together as a package. Then the roadmap is called, all the objects which are there, the various things. So the roadmap is the direction where you're going to go. Right? So all the different objects of desire which are there. So you must know that when you go on a path, you'll have a lot of things to look at. You'll cross the different things. You'll encounter different experiences. All of them are coming under this called path. Now, all of them are required. Not one of them you say, no, I can get into the car and the driver knows the way. Some people say that driver knows the way. And you think the driver knows the way. The jiva sits on the car and says that, okay, I know the way, and then you just go as what you think is right method. So the buddhi, the manam, the driver takes you there and it says, I think this is the best way to go. And you trust the instinct of the mind, because normally we don't, give chance. Driver, do you know how to go? He said, yeah, I know the way. I've been there many times before. So you go there. And then after a long, long time you're traveling, you suddenly get restless. You ask, are you sure that you know the way? He said, yeah, I think if you go past this place, then there should be another turning there. I should be able to go there. Then it goes there. The turning is not there. And he doesn't want to ask anybody, because if you ask anybody, the person sitting behind will feel that he's not a good driver. So what do? You continue. Continue on the journey without asking anybody, and what do you think is right. And the jiva also, the traveler also goes along with it. Ultimately, both of them get lost, because the driver doesn't know the way. He's lost his way. And because the driver has lost his way, the jiva, the traveler sitting behind, also lost the way, because both of them do not know what to do. Unfortunately, you cannot separate them. You cannot say that you go and I will follow later. Because the driver sitting there driving and the jiva sitting there are both connected together. Correct? They are both connected. For example, if you want to come to the class, and if you cannot just bring your ear to the class, correct? You cannot say that, let me send only my ears to the class. And you go and listen, and then, I'll sit in some other place. And you come and report to me, I'll attach the ear and I'll listen to what it is. When you come to the class, your entire thing has to come here. Whole structure has to move, right? So physical body has to move, including all the indriyas, everything has to move together. Without that, you cannot achieve anything. So that is how it says here, that it is very important that all these are connected, because the travel is connected, the object is connected, the vehicle is connected, the driver is connected, and also the direction is also connected. So unless you are clear about all of them, you will never reach the destination. That is what it says here, what? Adunapi, first verse. Even though people are making effort regularly, systematically, the first verse you saw, that even though people are systematically making effort, they are always making effort, constantly making effort, but they are not there yet, because something is not connected. Something is not well connected. So, in English, there's a word called disintegration. Correct. So, only when there's integration, there cannot disintegration. And disintegration happens only if there's no integration. Correct. So, very important that you have integrated body. So, integration is very important. Correct. So, here, now you look at the verse here. it says that Atmanam, first word. Atmanam means, here it talks about the Jivatma. Atmanam means Jivatma. Rathinam, see, Ratham means what? The chariot. So the person who's sitting on the chariot is called the Atma. Who is sitting there? The traveler. The Jivatma is sitting in the chariot. Rathinam. Then Nigamaha. Nigamaha means what? Is how ready to go. So and Nigama also means here the Vedas. It talks about the Vedas or it talks about the Katha Upanishad. So here the Nigamo talks about the Upanishad. And what does it say? Braviti. It says, Upanishad says here, then Buddhim cha tat sarathim. Sarathi means what? The person who is a charioteer, the one who is actually the charioteer, right? So someone has to be the charioteer or the driver. So the buddhi has to be the driver. Right? So unless the driver has got the intellect or the buddhi, physically he may be driving, but it doesn't have the intellect. See, now in the world of GPS, without GPS you can't drive. This is another problem. Right? See, in the olden days, you could go anywhere. Now without GPS, you cannot drive anywhere because it is complex, too complex. So now the buddhi is substituted by GPS. So now, along with your buddhi, you have to rely on the other third-party intellect also. And unless these two are connected, you will not be able to receive information and also process information. Especially if you're not going. Some people are very good in going to city, etc., navigating city. I'm not good because I do not go there. So you need some extra help required. So turn left here, one way, two ways, only one side you can go. And sometimes you get lost because you keep going round and round and round. Because all one way side. Right? You'll end up the same place again you came here. And people sitting, what are you trying to do? He said, are you taking there or not? He said, no, GPS says signal lost. So GPS signal lost means you are lost, you do not know what to do there. That's why it says here, Sarathi. So you should need a good Sarathi. Means a good driver, good buddhi, intellect required. For you, it is not okay to just sit in the car and then have a bad driver. You need a good driver, and the driver is called a buddhi. So buddhim cha tat sarathi. So tat sarathi means what? The sarathi is the charioteer or the person who is driving the chariot or the car. You can say this. So Atmanam Rathinam. So Jivatma is sitting on the chariot. The Jiva is sitting in the car. And what does Buddhim cha tat sarathim? So Buddhi is the sarathi for the Jivatma. Okay. So Buddhi is the one who guides the Jivatma. Imagine if the Buddhi is not there, or the right intellect is not there, then what does Jiva do? Jiva cannot do anything. He will just go where the Buddhi says, because they are connected together. You cannot say that, I don't want to go. Physical body cannot say that I don't want to go because the Buddhi says I want to go there. When the Buddhi goes there, physical body will have to go. Because the chariot itself has got no structure. It can't move anything. Correct? It is a dumb structure. The physical body is what is a dumb structure. It cannot do anything. For the physical body to move, there has to be some incentive. There should be some power for it to move. So here also, that's why the buddhi is important. Very intellect is important. One of the qualities emphasized here is having the right intellect, right buddhi is important. So Shastram also, in our own Shastra also, we have Patanjali Yoga Sutras. So we complement by studying Patanjali Yoga Sutras. So they talk about Pratyahara, Pranayama, method of meditation, etc. is there. So we take the good things from there. We take the method of understanding how to prepare for the mind. But we do not take the philosophies. Because the philosophy is what? Atmas are many. Right? And for them, Atmas are many. And for them, through Samadhi only, you can attain knowledge. Shastram says what? You have to attain first knowledge. Samadhi is not important. Because even Samadhi also, you will have to come after Samadhi is over, what? You will still have to come out of Samadhi again. And what will you do? Same thing again will come back. So what is the purpose of getting into Samadhi, into a state of bliss? And then you are in that bliss for a particular period of time. When the time is over, what? You will still have to come out. You cannot be in Samadhi all the time. If you go permanent Samadhi is okay. Then, but you cannot. Because when you go to Samadhi means what? The person has got very, is able to control all Indriyas. He's able to meditate. He's able to be in that level of happiness for a consistently long period of time. 8 hours, 7 hours, somebody will be like just sitting there like this. And he is able to control all his Indriyas, power, etc. and then bring it, some chakra there. Somebody asked me the other day question, some other class. They asked me, Shankarji, a lot of people say that the chakra, the power is here. So everybody brings the chakra here and brings it here, Ajnana chakra. It's called Ajnana chakra there. Said, so what? If you bring all the chakra and leave it there, what will happen? Will you be able to leave with the chakra always there? You'll be worried that, the chakra, what happens? So it will come down. Or if it leaves, what happens? So you're always worried about that power being always there and you would maintain the power there. So you're making an effort to keep the power there all the time. So you're always afraid of losing that power, correct? So there's always an effort. So that's why all this Samadhi, etc., the Yoga Shastra philosophy, we take them from the discipline point of view, but we do not take the philosophy aspect of it. The philosophy, just leave them alone. So we take only the good things. That's what it says here. Tat saratim, tat buddhim. So buddhi means what? All these practices which are specified in the Dhyana Yoga, in the Bhagavad Gita, or in the Yoga Sutras, or in the Ashtanga Yoga, or when you go to the Vipassana Yoga, they're all good, but they are good for preparing the mind, but they are not good for getting jnana. They prepare you ready for focusing the mind, so that if you want to go for a long drive, then what you should do, you must sleep well, and you must be able to focus without getting direction here and there. Right? So if you look at the horse also, the chariot, you'll see the horse actually has got, they completely blocked like this, correct? You've seen that? They will actually, on all the sides of the horse, they will block so that the horse, because there are 5 horses are there riding a chariot. And all the 5 horses, they can look at each other and they can communicate. Because when the horse starts to have a multi-vision personality, they can go anywhere they want. One horse will go this way, other horse will pull this way, and one horse will go straight. So what do? They want the horse to only look straight. So they block the eye. Same way, the buddhi also has to be channeled in the right direction. So the mind has to be channeled in the right direction means what? Your focus should be only on that particular object only. Even though something may come across, you must be able to ward it off or negate it and bring back the mind. Then only you will be able to go. Imagine you are driving like this and you feel very tired. So what happens? Your car goes outside like this. Nowadays the car has got all these technologies, lane assist, lane skipping, so many things are there. So even if you go this way, the car will warn you, so you again bring back. But in the olden days, if you sleep, you will just go this way, and there will be one truck which will just come next to you, because the mind is not ready. So very important that the person sitting is not important, the buddhi is also important. So you should be ready, and also the buddhi should be ready. Correct? So buddhim cha tat saratim. Next he talks about So the word Braviti Nigamo, what it says here means that the Vedas, the Upanishad calls this physical body as a chariot. So Braviti Nigamo means what? The example given is this Upanishad calls this chariot here as a physical body. Then, so you have to add the word Nigamaha. So see this word Nigamaha, Deham Syandanam. So Nigamaha, Deham Syandanam. So what does Nigama says? Veda says that this Deham is called a chariot. So you add the word Nigamaha to everything what I'm saying. So Nigamaha Deham Syandanam Bhavati. Nigamaha Deham Syandanam Bhavati. So this Veda calls this human body as a chariot. Then Nigamaha Indriyani Turagan. See next word. Deham Syandanam Indriyani Turagan. So Nigamaha Indriyani Turagan. Hope you're able to follow, right? So Nigamaha means you should put Vedas. So you write this Veda or this Kathopanishad calls the Deham as the chariot, which is Atmanam Ratinam. So Ratinam is example of the chariot. Then Nigamaha Indriyani Turagan. So Turagan means what? This is the horse. So Syandanam means chariot. Okay, example. Syandanam means chariot. And the adjective for that is Deham is given. So Deham is equal to chariot. So Nigamaha Deham Syandanam. So Deham is equal to Syandanam, chariot. And who says this? Nigamaha. So the Upanishad says. Then Nigamaha Buddhim cha tat saratim. So the Veda says that the Buddhim is supposed to be the Sarati. So Buddhi is supposed to be Sarati. Deham is supposed to be Syandanam. Then Nigamaha Indriyani Turagan. So the Veda says what? This Indriyani or the 5 sensory organs. Indriyangal. So you can say Indriyas. So sense powers, sensory organs. They are called as the horse. Turagan. Horse. Then Nigamaha Tat Gocharam Bhavati. So Nigamaha Tat Gocharam Shabdam Adi Bhavati. So Nigamaha Tat Gocharam Shabdam Adi Bhavati. That means this Veda Nigamaha says that Shabda Adi means the words or the sound. So the words quoted in the Vedas. So Shabda means what? Shabdaha means words or sound. So the words are being said as the root direction. So Gocharam means supposed to be the path here. So the path for the horse, Turagan, Gocharam. So for the horse needs to go on a particular path, correct? There should be a road. See, the horse cannot just go just like that. There has to be a road. So you need a road also along. So I forgot to tell you that. You need a road. You also need the path means what? The road is required for it to go. Right? So Atmanam Ratinam Nigamaha Atmanam Ratinam Nigamaha Buddhim Tat Saratim Nigamaha Deham Syandanam Nigamaha Indriyani Turagan Nigamaha Shabdadi Tat Gocharam. Is it clear so far? I'm not going too fast, right? You're able to follow? Because there's a lot of Sanskrit words here. That's why. Okay, so 6 things are there. Atmanam Ratinam Bhaviti, number 1. Nigamaha Deham Syandanam. Nigamaha Indriyani Turagan. Nigamaha Tat Saratim Buddhim Bhavati. Nigamaha, next 5th one. Chetaha Pragrama Bhaviti. So here, Chetaha means what? The mind. And Pragraham means the reins. So Pragraham means the reins. So the mind is supposed to be equated to the reins. So always say, rein your mind, control your mind, pull back your mind. Why do you say? Because the mind is the one where you can pull. Right? We can always say that, no, please don't do that. So you bring back the mind. So mind is supposed to be the reins. So imagine the horse, the chariot. The chariot is the physical structure which has got the wheels and everything else. The wheels cannot do anything unless the horse is there. Correct? The horse has to be there, number 1. Even the horse also cannot do anything unless the driver is sitting on the chariot. Then the driver has got the chariot, he has got the reins, and the horse is tied. So each of the horses are tied, right? And the driver knows which horse, where to pull, which direction you have to change. You'll change this way, you'll pull this way, this side. Other horse pull this way. So the using of the reins, the person controls the movement of the chariot. Correct? If you leave the reins, supposing the driver becomes tired and he just leaves the reins, what does the horse will bolt? And along with the horse bolting, the chariot also will go in every direction at a very rapid speed. You will not know where you are going, and finally you will just topple over. Same way it says here that if your mind is not restrained, if your mind is not controlled, you will go at a rapid speed towards deterioration. Because you will just keep on traveling. Finally, you will stumble across, you will just fall one day, you do not know where you have fallen. You will not be able to come back also. Because it's broken. Someone has to come and fix all your wheels. Someone has to correct the horses, get it up to speed, and then put you back on the chariot, and he says, okay, now this is the road, you go now. So here, the Veda says that I am here as the path, I am here as the road for you. So you follow my road. If you follow my road, your horses will actually go in the right direction. But if you do not follow me, that's what he says in the previous verse. He says what? As a friend, correct? So Kripaya, I'm coming to you as a friend because you are lost and you just follow me. Don't do anything. Just follow my teaching. Just follow the road and you will definitely get there. But if you have doubt, if you go here and there, you may get lost. So let me be your friend, philosopher and guide, and follow me. So Chetaha Pragraham Bhaviti. So Nigamaha Chetaha Pragrama Bhaviti. So the Veda talks about the mind as the reins. Then Ya Iman, so the person. So Yaha means what? The person or the one. Yaha Iman. So the person who, what does it do? Vashyaha. Iman Vashyan Tanoti. See the word Vashyans Tanotyatmavan. So you have to break the word into three. Iman, Yaha Iman means this person or the person who is endowed with this intellect, endowed with these right qualities. Pashyan Tanoti. So Vashya means what? Control. So Vashapadtal. So Vashapadtal means when the person who actually is able to control, or Vash means one is actually able to control in his favor. Right. So if you are not able to pull in the reins and have the full control, then you will not be having, you will just be a slave. So one has to be the master. So for master, what you should be having, all the levers you should know how to pull. You must know what to change, right? Also, right? So if you got, the car also, you got different stations. You got all these knobs which are there. You can change the knob. You want to go to media, you can switch to media. You can go to CD player, you can go to CD player. You can go to, GPS, you can go to GPS. There are different things are there. But you must know what to turn on, correct? And when to turn on. If you do not know, then they all will be doing something on their own. So you must be able to have control over when to turn on certain things, when you should switch off certain things, correct? So you should be in control. That's what it says here. Yaha Iman means the person, or Iman Vashyan means the person who is able to control these. So Vashyan Tanoti means the person who is able to control these things. And how? Adarena. See the previous word? Pragraham Adarena. So you should use the word Chetaha Nigamaha Chetaha Pragramaha. I told you Chetaha means what? The mind is equal to the reins. You leave the word Adarena, you add to this one. Yaha Iman Vashyan Tanoti Adarena. See, Tanoti means what? A person who has got control, restraint is called Tanoti. And Vashyan means all the Indriyas, Manaha, Buddhi, Chit, all those things are there. The 5 sense organs, sensitive powers, all of them, the person has got full control. He is reigning into this. I'll take another 5 more minutes, then next class will continue. I want to complete that particular line. So, Yaha Iman Vashyan Tanoti Iti Atmavan. So the word Atmavan is mentioned here. Atmavan means the person who is a wise person. Or the person who is supposed to be, who is endowed with the qualities of the Sadhana Chatushtayam. So we'll see in Tattva Bodha class, all these requirements of Adhikari. So when we complete this, we go to Tattva Bodha, you will see that what are the requirements for a person to be eligible for studying Shastra. What are the qualities required in a person for following this path? So Atmavan is a person who is supposed to be the one who knows how to, or eligible or prepared once one is prepared. So only the person who is prepared and ready only the person who can do Vashyam Tanoti. Only the person who is ready can actually control the mind. A person not ready at all, he cannot control the mind. He will just let it go. So, when we always say, I just go wherever mind goes. So wherever your mind goes, your body also goes. So if your mind says you go to a movie, you go the physical body to the movie also. Correct. All your things goes. Correct. Eyes go, ears go, physical touch, all sensory organs, perceptions, everything go together. So they all go together. They don't go separately. That's why very important that the mind has to be restrained. For such a person, it's called Atmavan. Okay. So adarena means effort. A person who actually makes effort is called adarena. So a person who makes effort sincerely is called iman adarena mashyam tanoti iti atmavan. That's how we should read. Okay. Yeah, iman adarena means the person who is able to control this with effort, who is putting the right effort, and who is able to control the indriyas and the sense organs is called the atmavan. Is it clear or getting too tough for you guys? Okay. See, simple example, English for translation, it is Atmanam equal to Jiva. Ratinam is equal to chariot. Nigamaha means Vedas. Buddhim is equal to Sarathi. Buddhim is intellect and Sarathi is the charioteer. Okay. Then Deham is the physical body. Syandanam is called a chariot. So Deham is equal to Syandanam. Indriyani is equal to Turaga. So Indriyani means all the sensory organs, this is the horses. And Shabda Adi, Gocharam means all the words, means it talks about all the sensory pleasures, objects which are here, they are called a path. So you have the path. So you go and explore that path. Then Chetaha Pragramaha. So Chetaha means the mind is equal to reins. So all these things are given, and he gives now the example of a person who is endowed with the correct qualities. Right? So all of this has to be understood. All of this has to be, the role of each thing has to be understood very clearly. And then such a person is called Atmavan here, who is the right person who can actually travel this path. Other people who do not know any of these things, even though they are making effort, they will not be able to go to destination. That's what I said in the beginning itself. So the example set in the beginning was that people are making effort. They're all making things, going temple, building temple, constructing wells, doing donation, doing upvas, etc. So a lot of things are doing. But they are not able to get anything because it's taking them more into the direction. And it is they are questioning as to how long will I do this? Nothing is working for me. I've been doing so many pujas, so many archanas, etc. Nothing is coming to me. I'm still the same person I was so many years ago because the effort is not there in the right direction. So Upanishad says you follow the path, what I'm trying to tell you. Then you place your chariot on the path. Have the right driver. You sit behind. Make sure that the horses are fed and well healthy. Then the person who's actually controlling has got reins, and now you just follow the path. So all these are required for the person to travel. Even one of them is not there. Even the one horse is not there, or two horses not there, you will not go there. Right? Sarathi will be there, sitting will be there. You will be sitting there, but it will not go. So that's what it explains here. Is it clear so far? Any questions anyone has got? Kushalji, have you got any questions? Have you got the gist of this so far? Okay, I haven't actually unfolded many things yet. I'm just giving a bird's eye view of what it is. So we will actually go into the in-depth meaning of this. It may take me 1 or 2 more classes to cover only this. So we'll go through the nitty-gritties of them in the next couple of classes or so. Mama, you are clear? Radhaji, any questions from your side? You're okay? So you're able to follow?
Yes, Ji.
Okay. Sriram and Bhavani ji, any questions from your side? You're all okay? You're following?
All good.
Yeah.
All good, Sanjay. Thank you.
Okay, so we will stop the class here for now, and we will continue to see the meaning in the next next class, where we'll unfold more of this information there. If you've got any questions, or if you think something is not clear to you, you WhatsApp me. Either privately you can WhatsApp me, or you can put in a group chat. We will pick up the topic and we'll explain that. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaste. Shubhradri Dollar.
Namaste. Thank you, sir.